the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we're going to start by opening the second public meeting for the Town LaFontaine Park project. I'll let you go ahead.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm Melissa Norby with Klein Peter Consulting Group. We are the grade administrators assisting the town with the construction with the park grant from the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs. There is a sign-in sheet up here, so please sign in before you leave. OCRA requires 2 public hearings when we do a grant application. The first one was on March 30th, and then today's our second one. The purpose of today's hearing is to discuss the grant application for the park project. The project cost is $600,000. We're applying for a $500,000 grant from OCRA, and the town is providing $100,000 in local matching funds from the Park and Rec Building and Operating Supplies Fund. Since this funding is earmarked from the Stellar Communities Program, we don't have a set deadline for the application, but our aim is to submit by the end of the month. We want to make sure that citizens are fully informed and have an opportunity to ask any questions, voice any concerns, or show any support for this project. So with that, I can turn it over to Rob and Chris from Commonwealth Engineers to discuss the scope of the project that the park committee and the council discussed at length, and I think we're in good shape.
Thank you. My name is Rob Bellucci. I'm with Commonwealth. I'll briefly go through the project scope, and there has been a lot of coordination effort and meetings, and likely some sweat equity based on what's been going on. But I think we're in a good spot now with respect to the base scope, and we'll obviously include some additional items to make sure we maximize the money. It was mentioned that you're getting a $500,000 OCRA grant. Grant administration fees come out of that. So just as a reminder to everybody, our actual construction budget is $460,000. With that, the base project, and I'll talk in terms of like base bid, alternate. We try to structure a scope knowing that we can get a base bid to come in within our $460,000 budget. However, if we get good bids, we'll identify some other things that we can add on to it, right? So that we spend it all. We don't have to give the money back. So our base project scope is going to include the following items. We are going to, what we've internally amongst the project team have been characterizing as site work, inclusive of grading, removal and demolition of existing concrete slabs and walls and all the things that are left that Gary hasn't got to yet to keep that site opened up so we can use it. Trees. It's going to include on the far west end off Walnut Street an asphalt parking lot with ingress and egress off Walnut Street, and that will also include striping. It's going to include a pedestrian path, 5-foot wide asphalt path connecting the proposed parking area along the north side of the parcels over to the existing historical pedestrian bridge, and then up to it with some like asphalt approaches on either side so that it's at least handicap accessible to get on the bridge and off the bridge onto the park. New basketball court on the north side of the site. And then in the location of the existing basketball court, the goal will be removed and turned back over to the town, and that is the location for a proposed smaller footprint pavilion. That's our base project. We believe that those scope items will get us in within our targeted budget with a little wiggle room, $40,000-$50,000 to bids come in a little bit higher, we're covered. They come in lower, that's when we will now transition to these alternate bid items that I'm going to discuss. We recommend taking alternate bid pricing on the following items. Fencing around the baseball field for home run purposes. Additional footage of walking path to complete the loop around the site. Site lighting, you have an existing electric panel, 200 amp panel, I believe, that's hanging on the first base dugout there at the ball fields. There's plenty of capacity to power out of that. You can put supplemental site lighting in. Get the security cameras replaced. Put in an allowance for additional playground equipment. And then a couple of additional items that were brought to my attention that we're going to investigate on our end and then report back to the group. These aren't official, but look at the parking area on the north side of the creek. And in addition to that, do a little investigation on drainage coming out of the existing mulched playground area to make sure there aren't any issues. And then along with that, if additional playground equipment is considered and included, make sure we don't have any drainage issues with that as well. So those are the items. Base project, alternate project. We're in a good spot on our end with respect to production. We got preliminary set of plans, and I'm getting ready to get my subs as far as geotechnical and structural going, and we'll be full steam ahead. But this should keep us in good graces with OCRA as far as their schedule and whatnot. Wendy called me earlier and also emailed me. It sounds like the homework that I left for the working group last week was completed, and they've sent me some information on what they want the pavilion to potentially look like. And then she had asked me to mark up one of the original renderings that we had done that showed everything, not just this project, but what it could look like, right, 10, 15, 20 years from now. And I've got some markups that I'll leave with these guys, and they can get them to Wendy to make sure that's what she wants me to clean up. And once that's done, I'll email it out to the working group. So that is where we're at. That's the overview of the project. I guess I can open it up to questions. Otherwise, I think we've fulfilled the requirements of our hearing.
I don't have any questions. Do you have any questions? Anyone out there have any questions? Tom?
I would. So a couple of years ago, I took pictures of that, you call it a historical bridge that connects the north parking lot across the creek to the existing park.
That's how it's been.
And showed the old town utility person here that was here, Lance. It is rusting through in a lot of places. Is there any plans to restore that or change that or put a new bridge in or anything?
It's in the 5-year plan.
Okay.
The reason that we're not including it this go around, what we are doing is I'm having my structural engineer actually come out and do a physical inspection to give me their assessment. You know, is it truly something that needs to be replaced, or does it just need to be blasted and coated? So I'm gonna have a structural engineer as part of my effort come out and give us an assessment of it. But it is in the plan. It's just not a part of this phase 1. Part of the challenge is because of the history component. What do we want to do? What does the town want to do to try to preserve the past, but yet update it so we can get it to where it needs to be? So that was bounced around quite a bit. It is in the plan. We're just not, it's not something that we're going to do right now because we think it needs a little more effort to really decide how they want to either preserve or incorporate some aspects of what it is into an upgraded bridge, so to speak. But yeah, it's certainly in the plan. It's just not part of phase 1.
Miles? Okay, so
We good? Did you have anything else?
Nope.
You needed
I don't have anything else. If there's no other comments or questions, you're going to
the
close.
hearing.
okay, do we need to pass the resolution and the ordinance in this or in our regular meeting?
I would close the public hearing
Okay.
and then approve the other things as a part of your regular.
We will do that.
I can make a motion to close the public hearing. I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we will start the April 13th, 2026 Town of LaFountain Council meeting. We'll put these down here a little bit farther. Approval of the March 9th, 2026 minutes.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I'll abstain because I wasn't here, so. Anything else, Rob, from you guys?
Do you want to do the resolutions now?
Yeah, we can do that now.
It's under us, I guess.
Yeah.
That way she's taken care of.
Yep, we'll cover those now. Okay, so the first is a resolution authorizing application submission and local match commitment. Resolution, it doesn't have a number. I'm not sure what number we're up to, Pam, on resolutions for this year. Okay.
I think as long as you assign one before the application, right? 'Cause these are part of the application, right?
It is, this is a requirement of the application.
Okay,
So if he's targeting.
so we're gonna pass it to be numbered,
Sure.
since we'll have to figure out what number we're on to. Okay, this is a resolution of the Town of LaFountain authorizing the submittal of the stellar application to the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs addressing related matters. I'll make a motion to pass the resolution.
Second the motion.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, I think I signed this one. I got one. Okay, don't think anybody else has to sign that one. So this is the second thing we have to pass tonight is an updated fair housing ordinance. We had a fair housing ordinance. It was just not up to date. So Jordan has made all the corrections and made it up to date. So this is the Town of LaFountain Ordinance Number 1, 2026, the Fair Housing Ordinance. Do you guys have any questions? You were able to look at it ahead of time? Okay.
I'll second it.
I'll make a motion to pass the Fair Housing Ordinance.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're gonna have to suspend the rules. I'll make a motion to suspend the rules.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor? Aye. I'll make another motion to pass the Town of LaFountain Ordinance Number 1, 2026, the Fair Housing Ordinance.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And I'll make a motion to unsuspend the rules.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Real quick, and then we'll pass it down. All right, we got that done.
I'll jump to the water project and I'll jump over to the wastewater stuff we talked about. We got what we needed from Careless Midwest late last week to incorporate the repairs that need to be done to that well. So my engineers pulling all that information together and getting it bundled up. We'll get it transmitted to RD probably before the end of this week. So I'm optimistic we'll be receiving our authorization to go to bid before the end of the month. You guys will be copied on all the transmittal information, so you'll know when it goes in. But that was the last piece that we were waiting on. Once that is transmitted, I'll have a set of drawings and specs printed for you guys, whether you want to give it to Jeff or just keep it up here, and I can transmit. You'll have the link to the PDF of everything, but I'll give him a printed set of drawings. That way he can start going through and familiarizing himself. The base project's got the meters in it. And it's obviously got the new water plant. You may or may not recall, we were going to do a little bit of work out in the distribution system, put in a looping line down by the nursing home. It's already been designed. We can certainly bid it, but I'm going to bid it as an alternate, kind of similar to how we're handling the park, because I want to make sure that the well work gets incorporated in, right? You haven't had that water main line putting that loop in before, and we've dealt with it. It's already been designed, we'll bid it, but just know that the base project's got to have the well stuff in. It's just a higher priority. So that's when you get that information, that's how you see the structure. all that stuff was previously addressed in the preliminary engineering report, so RD knows about it, RD knows it's coming. It just wasn't until recently when the video inspection was done on that well that we realized the casing had holes in it and everything else. So the fix is going to be to line it, drop a new casing and screen down inside of it. Tim Hill and Carlos have confirmed it won't reduce or impact the capacity, but it will obviously make it structurally more intact and add another, 50, 75 years to the life of it. The other piece that's in that scope that Lansing wanted was a bulk fill station at the water plant. That's in there too, but my recommendation is going to be to alternate bid that as well. So other than that, nothing has changed. RD knows it's coming, and then once it gets transmitted, I'll probably want to set up bi-weekly phone calls. And you guys don't have to commit to anything tonight, but I want whoever you want to task with being kind of like the project team that can make themselves available during the day. And we'll get the attorney, RD, and Reedy, and the bond counsel, and everybody, kind of like our bi-weekly check-in, our forum, so that we can make sure we all stay on track.
Yep.
It's a process we've used on other projects. It seems to work well. So once the plans get submitted, I'll be reaching out to everybody to gauge availability, and I'll send out a Teams link like I do for the park meetings. They'll have a computer access option and a phone number option. But I think that's critical to get that set up.
Yeah, I don't have a problem doing any of that. And if we need, you said Jordan also,
He'll be invited,
Okay,
whether or not
okay.
he's able or willing to attend.
because that'll be sometimes depending on courts and stuff. So,
He will be included, and if there's any action items for him that he's not able to attend,
We can
circle
address
up
those.
with him after the fact. But he did some legwork too,
Yes.
because RD requires all the title certification. So I just want to make sure he's privy
Okay.
to these meetings, and if he's able, then he can log on. If he's not,
Sure.
we'll report back to him. So procedurally, that'll be the next steps on that. I got, Emily sent me the renderings on the park, so I
That's very
have
nice.
that. Yeah, it looks good. I'm going, once I have a schedule for my drillers, my soil boring guys to come out here, I'll check in with you guys first to make sure you know that they're coming. They'll call in locates, but really the only thing that's down there is that storm line, and we know where that's at because we can see where it discharges. So they'll coordinate that effort. We're going to core through. Remember, we're going to core through that basketball slab, and then when I get my site visit with my structural engineer, is that something that you want to? Somebody from the park board want to be available when they come down to look at the bridge, so that in case they have questions, so we'll coordinate that as well. Other than that, I don't really have much. We'll have a preliminary set of drawings to distribute to the group to look at, but until I get my structural engineer going, you're just going to be looking at site plans and contours. So that's that piece of it. Do you want to talk about the sludge stuff, or?
yeah, if you want to.
After you and I talked about it.
If you want, just kind of, I kind of a little bit of an update on an email, but if you can kind of give us an update.
The work in progress has been, Jeff has been investigating alternate methods to get rid of sludge. Historically, they just hauled the Wabash, right? He's investigating the geobags, and that's 30-yard dumpsters with a bag in it. You pump it full of sludge, you let it set, the water seeps out of the bag and drains back into the treatment plant, and then you fill it back up again, and then it drains, and you fill it back up again. Do them all the time. They're very common. And the cost analysis that vendor provided Jeff showed it could save up to $10,000 a year. Okay. We did our double check of the math and agree the numbers are about right. So I think there's certainly a savings. However, there's going to be a capital investment if you go down that The equipment itself, it involves chemicals, so there's chemical feed pumps. There's going to be a recurring cost for polymer, a little building to put the chemical feed system in, a little climate control building, some piping and a concrete pad to put the dumpster on, and then a drain for when it's dewatering through the bag. It's got to drain back into the plant. It can't just spill out on the ground because it's still considered wastewater. And some electrical work. The quotes that were provided by the equipment vendor, I want to say are around 55 or 60,000 bucks, and that's dumpster, bags, the chemical feed equipment, the plumbing to get from the sludge tank through the building over to the dumpster, and then a little building to put all this stuff in. Concrete was excluded. Jeff had gotten a proposal from a local contractor to do the concrete work. I want to say it was mid $20,000 range for that slab. When I met with John a couple weeks ago, I cautioned him to have a little more discussion with the contractor that quoted it. Those dumpsters, when they're full, weigh over 20 tons. So this isn't a 6-inch slab on grade that we're talking about. And if anybody's ever had experience dealing with these haulers and these roll-off dumpsters, they kind of free will, when those things slam down so you want some concrete underneath of it that's got some beef to it. And, I would recommend rebar and some, get some printer footers. So that's one thing. I don't think also we need to make sure that the quote for the concrete includes the slab for this little building that the dewatering equipment contractor is going to provide, because I don't think that was included. And I didn't see anything in there from a local electrician, because we got to get power to this chemical feed system. It could probably come out of an existing panel out there. It's not like it's complex, but there's a cost there, and that needs to be accounted for. And then the drain from the slab that the dumpster sits on needs to somehow get back and tied into the main lift station, because everything that drains out of the bag needs to be sent back through the treatment plant for treatment. My opinion is you're probably all in around $100,000 if you piecemeal it together and find some local folks to do it for you. All right. What does that mean? It means you're probably somewhere between a 5-year and 10-year payback based off your investment. On the low end, you could probably break even in about 5 years. On the high end, it could be 10. But once you get past that, then obviously you're saving money. So that's something to be thinking about. From my standpoint, we checked with IDEM, and it's a change in your treatment process. He'll need a construction permit from IDEM to do it. We can help you guys with that because it needs to be certified by an engineer, but it's a form we fill out all the time, and we can work with you guys on that. It's not like I need a contractor to do it, but you need to get a permit. A little history. I think that's how Commonwealth got introduced to the town even before I got involved, is because some work was done out the wastewater plant that didn't get a permit, and then I didn't smack you guys' hand. They had to get a permit after the fact. So we called them this time, and if you decide to go down that path, we need to get a construction permit. So,
cool.
But we'll help you guys with that. I'm not worried about that cost. The bigger issue is the investment, the capital investment to get it built. So that's kind of my opinion for my assessment of that scenario. I think you're going to be, like I said, about 6 figures all in.
I think we need to do it. It's just figuring out, have to have a meeting and a discussion to how to pay for it, whether we want to try to piecemeal, like you said, or do it all in one, or if we want to borrow or whatever. We'll have to talk about that a little further.
Okay.
But definitely.
That's where that's at.
Okay.
Just don't let them go off and start doing stuff without the
Okay.
So once you decide what you want to do, let me know.
Okay.
We'll start that process.
Rob, has there been any update on the USDA funds for the water project?
Yeah, that's what we were talking about earlier.
Okay,
We've got what we needed from Peerless to get the well work in. So we should, knock on wood, we'll get everything submitted to RD before the end of this week. And then we should get authorization to go out to bid before the end of the month. So that's,
And then after we do that, we'll be able to start getting some funds back in.
yeah, as soon as we close with RD, you'll get reimbursed at closing.
Okay. I think that's one thing is that'll help us out a lot. If we get reimbursed on a lot of the stuff we paid out.
We'll need, Pam, when we get closer to that time, I'll need copies of all the invoices for everything to date.
Is it also reimbursed for those parts we had to buy?
Yes,
From
anything and
Ford, okay.
everything associated with it.
Yeah.
And then, but that'll get reimbursed at closing.
Okay. That was just a large amount.
Yeah.
Your standards with the check balance.
Yeah, that's what I was, yeah.
Yeah. And then
But we'll need, like I said, we'll need copies of all the invoices.
do we have anything from Midwest Meter on the meters that need some work?
I need to follow up with him. I will do that. I'll be in the office all day tomorrow. I will follow up with the rep and then I will report back
Don't
to
we
the
have
group.
some organizing still?
Yeah, we have
Yeah.
some that's,
Some that are not even here yet, right?
Right.
well, I think,
30?
I thought Jeff, the last I spoke to Jeff, he said he had the replacements. The weather just hadn't cooperated and so he was gonna start on.
Is he back from vacation yet?
I believe he is back. Jeff's back, right, from vacation?
I have not talked
I've
with.
not
Okay,
seen
maybe he
him.
isn't back yet.
Yeah, he might be, but I've not bumped into him.
Okay,
So
all
I'll reach out to him and Midwest Meter tomorrow. I'll
Okay.
be in the office all day and then I'll report back to you guys.
Okay.
But as far as to Pam's question, as far as costs go, that's reimbursed at close.
Okay.
Which is good.
Thank you.
And then that, we'll have to, similar to the wastewater project, you'll be required to set up a dedicated project account if you haven't already done that. And once the reimbursement is processed, those funds will be deposited automatically into that account.
Okay, and we'll have to talk to Jeff also, because these ones for these buildings downtown, there's some plumbing adjustment that needs done on those meters before we can install them.
Let
And
me see if I can get a hold of him.
We need to get a quote on that and figure out what that's gonna cost us to get these in.
Yeah, let me get a hold of him, find out his understanding of where that stuff's at and what he needs and what we need.
Okay.
Because we may have it,
Okay,
he doesn't have it, right? So let me talk to him and then I'll call Midwest Meter and I'll circle up with the board, tomorrow, Wednesday, at the latest.
Rob, can we, are we allowed to use the bank that we deposited the ban money originally in as our dedicated account? Or does it need to be different than,
No, that, for the water project, man, yeah, you can use that.
okay.
It just has to be a standalone project
Yes.
account.
okay,
And that account was set up for that
Yes.
very reason,
Right.
so there's no reason that you can't continue to
Okay.
use that same
Okay.
account.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Maybe on that.
yeah, I am. I want to, there, everything's been changed. Okay, good, okay. Matt,
I have the Marshals Report. March was pretty busy. I had 24 calls for service, 32 traffic stops, and 7 ordinance issues, with one of those resulted in a citation. I also had 4 arrests for the month of March. One for operating while never licensed. The second was for operating while intoxicated. That was actually like right in front of the daycare. And then another for driving while suspended prior. And then I worked the case in conjunction with the sheriff's department, stemming from a domestic violence call that resulted in charges for felon in possession of a firearm. And then also I assisted the county with a stolen vehicle investigation across the town. So pretty busy overall for March. But
and I think the felon in possession of a firearm was sent federally, so
yes, that's
the
correct.
federal prosecutor will be picking up that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Tom,
For the month of March, we had 10 fire calls. 2 of those were vehicle accidents. And we had 8 EMS calls for a total of 18.
Okay, thank you. Jeff's not here. Did he get anything to you? Okay,
Did he get anything to you, Tracy?
No,
okay.
he was here, I saw him Friday, so I know he's back, but I don't know.
I know he's back too, and I don't know if they have something going on,
Could be.
so I don't know if I have a text, but nope, I don't have anything, so we'll talk to him. I'm sure, I think everything's going pretty good. Park, anything follow up on that?
Biggest thing is we have our open board position that
Still
has
need
to be
to,
a resident, it has to be within the town limit person. We've had other people willing and interested, but they don't meet that requirement. So that's the biggest thing we really need. And then just move forward with fundraising and stuff to go forward with the next phases. We've really just been working with Commonwealth, and everything else has been kind of reported by them.
all right, yeah, I wish,
And other than thanking Gary for all the work
Yes.
he's done down at the park.
Yes.
He's done a lot of work. And also mention if anybody is willing to help him, it's equivalent to a cash donation because it's in-kind work that
Okay.
we're keeping track of, that later, hopefully for the DNR, that will be considered a
Okay.
matching for money, so.
and Gary, are you like doing this during the day and evenings, weekends?
Mornings, 7 days a week. Get
Good
exercise.
Yeah.
When I'm not playing golf.
He did get some help from the park, and they got all that, which that was one of the line items, all those trees along
Yes.
the wall and the fence, so that should hopefully reduce the bid.
Everything that helps.
So I just wanna make the town
Yes.
aware that Gary's been doing most of that himself.
One of the things that was in the thing, the park thing, cleaning up along the stream and the concrete. You gotta be really careful about that because there is a ton of concrete that's in the wall down along there. If you remove that, it's just gonna keep it. But there is so much concrete down there, it's unbelievable. So,
Well, the sooner we get it cleaned out to be able to view it and see what we would do, the
there's a
better.
ton of it.
All right, well, if anybody wants to help Gary, they can, if you don't know how to get a hold of him, you can contact Wendy or the town and put you in touch.
And then, like I said, the open board position is really
Yes.
the biggest thing that we need to try to focus on, talking to people, anybody that might be interested.
I wish it was available for outside of city limits, but I thought that was the way it was passed, but I guess it wasn't, so. I wish it was
So
too.
that's a restriction with that, but.
Yeah.
so.
Okay, thank you. Are you here for the Alliance?
I'm here for the Alliance. Maria's not feeling
Okay.
well, so I'm gonna give a mural update.
Okay.
That's what I really know about, and the rest of it's, I'm gonna pass on. I'll just say we're trying to do stuff.
Okay,
So for the mural, wanted to bring a little bit, it was a little bit of a confusion on our part with our artist. We understood that she needed ideas and she wanted to do interviews, and we tried to put together a project, and that just really didn't work out. So that's why the contest got canceled. So our artist is doing some meeting with people to get an understanding of LaFontaine before she's generating a preliminary drawing. So we'll be bringing that. Now the next issue is a little more impactful as we've reviewed the side of the building. It's really not suitable for direct painting. So we're getting quotes, and so part of this would be the ability to mount signboard to the side of the building for that to be the surface to be painted. So that's going to be the first ask. Does the town see any problem with that? I mean, we're looking to have a professional sign company, because obviously there's some issues that we can't put something that's going to be heavy because it's.
what is the issue with direct painting?
The paint that's there, the way that metal is for a mural, it's not going to be a long term. Anything that you paint on, it's probably not going to last a long period of time. because it was a latex-based paint that was put on there, which I under the town tried to help. And then as far as trying to take it back off, we don't know what's underneath it, so there could be lead-based paint, and that's just like bad. So the normal solution that most companies or most towns use is to just put signboard. Signboard is typically, it's a piece of plastic with aluminum. So it's two pieces of aluminum sandwiched with a piece of plastic, usually 1/4 inch thick. So it's designed to be durable, last for 50 years type thing. But it would be mounted into a frame that would be mounted to the structure of the building. So it would set back and be just a big flat canvas at that point.
So it'd be an additional cost, just don't know what that is.
Yeah, we don't know what that is, and obviously that's gonna be a case of, okay, it is what it is. So we're getting some quotes at this point. From a timing standpoint, obviously we're in April. It may not happen this year, but we're obviously, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
We want it to happen.
Yeah.
And obviously at the point where we get, here's the quotes for what the installation would be, we'd bring those forward to say, here's what that is. We didn't want to try to do it ourselves with a building, and obviously town-owned building. We want some professional design company actually doing the work. So that's kind of where we're at this point. So we're still in process, working towards having some drawings and preliminary to say here's what we want it to be. But I ain't got there yet. So.
Okay. Questions or anything? Clerks report.
Reimbursement forms for Jeff's wages for the first quarter of 2026 have been submitted in the amount of $17,034.22. The construction for the bathroom at the barn has been completed. Council approved the bid of $26,850 in September of 2025. The final bill was $4,025 over the bid as additional items were added, and I have added that to the bills for approval tonight. That is due to some things that Jeff wanted to have added into that. We received our first Wabash County wheel tax allotment in the amount of $282.89. I'm not sure if we're going to get that quarterly or no. I don't know how that comes to us.
I haven't heard either.
I attended the State Board of Accounts conference in March. Cybersecurity was a topic of conversation. We were encouraged to know what coverage we have in place. I reached out to our technicians concerning our equipment, and they feel like we have very good protection with what we have in place. And I also talked to IMG Insurance. We have $1 million in coverage for cybersecurity, which they think is sufficient for a town of our size. And they said oftentimes if you're hijacked, they will accept whatever insurance coverage you have. So I thought that we would just leave in place what we have unless you feel differently.
Okay. If you're comfortable, if the insurance is comfortable.
Yeah. Okay, that's all I have. Bills for approval, $36,251.48.
I'd make a motion, we pay the bills, $36,251.48.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Billing adjustments, number one is the home sold, and the charge that the new customer received was actually the charge for the previous owner. So it would be a credit to that account for $217.89.
Make a motion, we, credit count 2269002 for the amount of $217.89.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Number two is a wastewater credit for $284.26. That is the home that was on, was it First Street, that had the major leak in the wintertime. So his credit would be $284.26.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve a credit for, or adjustment for credit for count 1000501, amount of $284.26.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
The next three are accounts that were charged on the 17th of the month for penalties and late fees. And what happened there is PayGov has there's a lag when the customer pays and when we receive notice of it. So if we're doing the disconnects at 5 o'clock, it still may not show. And so we'll print those letters out, and then in the morning when we come in, we'll see that they paid it, 3:45, and we didn't get
So
notice of it.
PayGov isn't sending that out in time,
Right. Mhm.
but we
So
can show that they're
those
in there.
credits are just crediting those accounts that were paid on time.
Okay, so we can do all three of these together then.
You do?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I approve with credit account 312-75021 for the $14.96. Account 2300001, credit for $19.83. And credit account 312-750-200 for a credit of $14.97.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
That's all I have.
Okay. Thank you. Glad you're feeling better, back.
Thank you.
We don't have anything under old business, nothing under new business. We have an agenda request. It's a discussion concerning the town seal.
Neither are here.
Okay.
There's a seal on this one that Chuck Cable did. This was a prototype he had done years ago. So he was curious if that could be the seal. And on the same day, Maria from LaFontaine Community Alliance also asked about the seal. So, but neither one of them are here. So.
Okay. So currently we don't have a town seal. I'm not opposed to having one, but I think we ought to do some checking before we
Yeah.
finalize and approve anything. But I'd be open to the town seal if whether we use that or we use something else or somebody wants to come up with something. I'm not opposed to it. If anybody has any suggestions on anybody artistic that wants to draw something up.
Well, Pam and I, we had a lot of fun trying to make one up with ChatGPT. but-
Maybe that's the context.
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say with that, well, we won't need that.
I mean, if we want to get together or the Alliance wants to put something out there as far as maybe coming up with a town seal, I'm not opposed to it. I think it'd be cool to have one.
We can do that. I don't know if that's a good idea or bad. It's an idea.
That's right.
Whether it's good or bad is a different question.
It'd be cool to have one if we could, just for letterheads and stuff. But we can always approve it and okay it later. Yeah, anything, yeah.
If you, I mean, Lions, I mean, it's not that hard for us to put together net ideas type answer. And then,
I'm gonna let you run with it then. How's that sound?
okay.
that'll
Be careful what I say.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll more for the contest.
Okay.
Similar contest what we had before. We're not doing like a mural.
Not for a mural, but not a town seal. Okay. Perfect.
All good. I think
Okay.
I got all that paperwork. I'll just
Okay.
update it a little bit.
Maybe you can throw some other town seals in and show these are what these towns look like, or I don't know, something. Okay.
Any particular rules or requirements of the seal?
Just
Just a bit
politically
idea.
safe.
Yeah.
Yes, Tom.
So there's been a lot of chatter on social media
Okay.
about a tornado siren. I don't know if you've seen that.
I have heard with a few people talking about it. Yeah.
So to clarify, and I did kind of clarify on that post, a long time ago, the firefighters would go down there. The system we have down there for that siren that goes off at noon is a very old
Yes.
manual dial timer with a couple little pins on it that you gotta turn and set and flip off, and it's got, I mean, it's old fuses
Yeah.
to power it, and really old system. There's no way you can connect that to central dispatch to have them set off any kind of siren.
No.
They used to, the firefighters a long time ago, like I said, they used to go down and manually, they'd leave their house and go down there and manually flip the switch, because we have an override. That's what we do for the fires, when we have a fire call. Flip the switch, leave it on for a while, and then shut it off. I don't know why it stopped, but at this point, to bring it back, it would be, we volunteer already, so then you're asking a volunteer to leave his family during bad, severe weather to go down and just set off a siren for everybody when they can get it on their phones. Is a tornado siren good to have in town? Yeah. North Manchester just put a new one in. They are very costly.
Yep.
That's not something that the volunteer fire department can foot the bill for. So I would suggest to the town, I don't know, with all these grants that you're getting and applying for, if that's something you could look into to put into one of these grants, or one of the extra things to add in when you don't spend all the money. I don't know if that'd be enough to cover that, because the last time I checked, they were about $45,000 for a system to connect to central dispatch for them to be able to set it off automatically.
I don't think there would be anything that we have currently that would be able to use for that. But maybe in the future, yes,
Right.
obviously, yes.
Yeah.
And maybe there is grants out there for that.
I
Very
made a note.
Yeah, ask Mike.
Okay.
I'll do some looking.
Okay. But yeah, I've heard that too. It'd be nice to have, but everybody has one of these. And my phone was going off like crazy during that last storm. So
There's weather apps you can download that'll.
yeah, I mean, obviously not everyone does, but most people do. And so in the meantime, hopefully everybody can pay attention to the weather.
And what does our alert thing do? Does it, we told me,
The reach alert,
yeah, it goes,
Yeah.
but it has to be sent in from here.
From here.
oh, just from here, you guys can't do it from home?
You can do it on the phone,
We can do it on our phone.
You can.
but, I mean.
Could
I
the
wouldn't want
dispatch
people
do
to
it
be-
from,
Well,
could the
it-
dispatch do it if we have to give them the reach alert information?
I don't know if they could or not.
You can check with it, yeah,
Okay.
I'm sure.
Can you ask them that?
I don't know, maybe that's something, Matt, could you reach out to
I'll just
Sandy?
call out Sandy and see what she says.
See
about
if that's
that.
something that they can,
Yeah.
I mean, I know they got a lot of other stuff going on. They may not want to take that on, but we can at least ask.
Yeah.
Cause
The hell?
it would require essentially the same thing. It would require someone from the town not working, or who knows where any of us would be
Well,
to
yeah,
set
like
that
if
maybe
off.
all of us were
upstate.
gone
Yeah.
and then there was a tornado and the town was like,
Nobody
you
did
didn't
it.
let us
Yeah.
know.
If you started, you got.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I'm
Yeah.
saying dispatch is 24/7 if they
So-
might be willing, but.
Right.
That'd be the only way, as of right now, I think, but yeah, not opposed to it, definitely.
Yeah, make a motion.
Anything else? Connor, you have anything? Okay, yep,
Make a motion, we adjourn the meeting.
I'll second. Oh, sorry.
Nope.
All in favor? Aye, opposed? I was just ready to get that out of here.
Yes. Yeah, that'd be nice. Yes, please.
Thank you. Thank
Good
you.
to see you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. You said he was going to community members, so.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Rob.
Take care.